So when it comes to taking L's, it's two types of people. See, the first type refuses to hold their L with any dignity. They want to try to hand the L off to everybody else. Oh no, it's his fault. It's this person's fault. Never taking accountability. They kind of take that attitude of, oh, it's everybody else's fault. Everybody's against me. Why even try? I'm gonna just stay right here in this spot. But the subject of today's video is type 2. See, type 2 is the one to hold their L gracefully. They hold the L, examine it. You see what I'm saying? Really figure out why I'm holding this thing, and then slowly they start to shape and mold it into a win. They keep stringing those together, and before you know it, they find success. Super Bowl champ and should be Super Bowl MVP Jacoby Jones took a major L in high school, a major L in college, and even a major L when he got to the pros. But he literally turns every single one into the biggest win of his life at that point in his life. It's pretty fascinating stuff. And I think the takeaway from this video is just resiliency. Take your L, hold it. It's either gonna break you or it's gonna make you stronger. Yo, if y'all enjoy these videos, do not forget to like and share them. I have a full playlist of just your 2020 What Happened To's. Check those out, and then you can check out the rest of the What Happened To's. We've been dropping these for years now. Don't forget to subscribe and enable your notifications if you happen to be brand new. Without further ado, this is what happened to Jacoby Jones. Cue the wang. Born in New Orleans, Louisiana, the majority of Jacoby's life, dude was around 5'7", 150. A far cry from the 6'3", 215-pound frame that he would eventually grow into. His dad actually left the family when Jacoby was only 1 year old, so he was raised by his mom, Emily. Ever since Jacoby was little, dude been known for running. When he was 6 years old, the dude ran everywhere and never seemed to run out of energy. So when he got old enough, his mom put him into sports, of course. Like, you running, you know what I'm saying? You might as well go out here, let's see what you got. Turns out he had quite a lot, as he made the Junior Olympics when he was 6 and 7 years old for track. Throughout the majority of his life, he played the 4 major sports in this country anyway: football, baseball, basketball, and he ran track. But despite the fact that he had great speed, it wasn't always enough to make him stand out in every sport. See, when he was in high school, they actually told him he was too small to play football. Oddly enough, that was the main sport that Jacoby actually wanted to play. So he decided to fill his time with other things that would eventually get him kicked out of that high school. He transferred to Abrams High, where he was a letterman in football, basketball, and track. Of those 3, he really excelled in basketball and track. So amazingly, even as a senior in high school, football was still not his main sport. Still, his efforts would earn him a track scholarship to Southeastern Louisiana University. He did not get that coveted football scholarship because, again, he was around 5'7", 150 pounds. And on top of that, he'd only played that 1 year of high school football anyway. So at Southeastern, he ran track. He asked the track coach if he could also participate in football, and they would told him, no, bro, like, why even go out there? So Jacoby did the exact same thing he did in high school. Y'all want to play football? No. Immediately, this man's not going to class, he's getting into trouble. Jacoby idolized Peter Warrick and Deion Sanders and wanted to be just like these guys. These guys played football, they didn't just run track. Jacoby's grades got so bad that he wasn't even eligible to compete anymore at Southeastern. And this is gonna sound crazy, but by not going to class and not going to practice, he slept a lot. And you know what can happen sometimes when a young man finally starts to sleep a ton when he's younger? He grows. But I'm not gonna lie, they normally don't grow like this. Jacoby went from 5'7" to 6'3". He grew so damn fast and seemingly out of nowhere that his mom was concerned, like, bro, are you taking steroids? Now, I don't really think steroids make you taller, but her concern is understandable. That's a hell of a growth spurt to hit once you in college. So this is a point where a couple different things happen. One, Jacoby finally caught a stroke of luck. He had this random growth spurt that he definitely did not plan. He also had a cousin playing basketball at a D2 school in Tennessee called Lane College. Jacoby's cousin went and talked to the football coach at Lane and told him how Jacoby had grown and how he could be a real asset to the team. but he was a little bit of a troubled kid. This is just your cousin putting in a good word. You really don't know if anything gonna come out of it. Turns out the coach gave Jacoby a call. After seeing what he'd done in track, he knew he had good speed, and now he was 6'3". He figured, hell, I'll give him a shot. This is a D2 school. We need athletes. Jacoby and his mom drove up to the campus to meet the coach, and here's what the coach had to say. You're gonna be on a one-strike system. Mess up once and you're gone. So there you go. You got one chance to make this work. You can't blow it. Jacoby was excited for the opportunity. He couldn't even believe that the coach would take him in and put him on scholarship given his track record. Dude was shocked because he had a 0 point something GPA. I don't even know how they got him into school. And according to him, he don't know how they got him in there either, but he got in. Yo, it's funny because it kind of reminded me of some of my homeboys when I was back at Southern University. Grades always in the tank, but somehow they managed to keep that scholarship going every single semester. Now, when Jacoby was in high school, it was second time the charm. He held that L at his first school. They didn't let him on the team. He got kicked off. Then he went to his second high school and earned a scholarship. Okay, turned that L into a W. Now he was attempting to do the same thing in college. Went to the first school, pretty much flunked out, couldn't play football there. Now, boom, he lands at a second school, and they're actually gonna allow him to play football. Now he's had this growth spurt. What could he do with it? Jacoby didn't squander the opportunity. He got his life together and balled out. At Lane College, Jacoby was 3-time all-conference as a wide receiver, but he really made his name in a punt/kick return game. During Jacoby's time at Lane, tragedy struck his city when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. The damage from the hurricane destroyed the home that Jacoby grew up in. It also destroyed the high school he attended. Fortunately, his mom wasn't hurt as she was able to get out of the city. Seeing all that devastation to a city that he loved and people that he loved, I think really inspired Jacoby to want to do something bigger. He poured as much effort as he possibly could into reaching the NFL, which had already been a goal of his, but now more than ever, he wanted an opportunity to give back to his city. After his time at Lane College, Jacoby would amazingly be invited to the NFL Combine. Not every day that a D2 player gets that invite. Once he got there, he measured in at 6'3", 210 pounds, ran a 4.5 in a 40-yard dash, had a 34-inch vertical, and a 10.4 broad jump. These are really good measurables, and that, along with the film that he had already put out there, allowed him to be drafted in the 3rd round by the Houston Texans. Once he got to Houston, it was a bit of a culture shock from him, but not in a traditional way. Here's a quote from Jacoby. Coming from a small school, I walked into the locker room and I was like, I'd never seen anything like this before. We get any pair of socks we want, any pair of gloves we want, brand new cleats every day. We ain't had that in college. All-time Houston Texans great Andre Johnson took Jacoby under his wing. He coached him up and was basically a big brother to Jacoby. Hell, they even realized they had the same birthday. Still, Jacoby got off to a rocky start, gaining a total of 230 yards receiving in his first 2 seasons combined. But he was still a solid returner. By his 3rd year in the league, Jacoby began to catch his stride as a receiver as well. He averaged about 503 yards receiving for the next few seasons, and twice had a yards per catch average of 16 yards, making him a solid deep threat. But then things took a turn for the worse. As you know, the L had to be coming for Jacoby. 2011 AFC divisional playoff game versus the Ravens. Jacoby Jones, whose primary job is to return kicks and punts, gets back there and muffs a punt that the Ravens recover and score a touchdown. Later in the same playoff game, he muffs another punt. And of course, the Texans go on to lose. So after that game, as you can probably imagine, fans was calling for his job. They wanted him to be cut, traded, everything, the works. Some fans even went as far as to send the man death threats. It always tripped me out how fans bet they whole mortgage on the damn game and then want to send death threats to the players. We all get pissed and talk a little crap on Twitter, but death threats? You tripping, dog. The Texans shopped Jacoby around a little bit, but ultimately just decided to release him. Just let him walk, didn't get nothing for him, figured hell, he's not very valuable at this point. So boom, just like that, 3rd round pick released, cut. He's going from the team. That's it. At that point, Jacoby's been kicked out of his first high school, denied an opportunity to play football at his first college, and now he has tried and failed on the biggest stage at his first pro team. How would he shake back? He'd do it the same exact way he'd done it before. Of course, he was upset by what happened, but he always found a way to shake back. Here's a quote from Jacoby after he got cut from the Texans. I'm human, and it hurt me a lot. People make mistakes, but people that dwell on the past never succeed in life. The people who dwell on that one game, that's the people who play fantasy football or never played the game. It made me a better person. It was just another obstacle in my life that I've had to overcome, and I did. I don't have a fumbling problem, but all people talk about is that one game. It's in the past, but I'm in black and purple now. That offseason, Jacoby signed a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Jacoby was hella motivated to prove Texans fans wrong and show them that that one game did not define him. So the following year, he ends up joining the Baltimore Ravens, and immediately after holding that major L in the playoffs the previous year, Jacoby turns it around once again as the best season of his entire career from a team success standpoint. It's something about that second stop that Jacoby loves. I mean, high school, college, pro, bruh. It's really crazy how it all mirrors each other. So in 2012, Jacoby returned a kickoff for 108 yards and a touchdown in a win versus the Dallas Cowboys. That kick return tied an NFL record for longest kick return in league history. Then on November 11, 2012, Jacoby returned the kickoff for 105 yards in the Ravens' 55-20 win over the Oakland Raiders. This made him the first player in league history to return 2 kicks for 105 yards or more in one season. We still going that same year in the divisional game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jacoby would have likely had another kick return touchdown, but unfortunately he had 12 people to beat instead of 11. Mike Tomlin, I respect you, but what the was this? Still, the Ravens won that game 13-10. That year, Jacoby also caught 30 receptions for 402 yards and 1 touchdown out of the slot. 1 year earlier, Jacoby had failed miserably in the playoffs. Now, 1 year later, he's right back in the playoffs in the same exact AFC divisional game, but now with his new team. Jacoby looked to make his mark. So in that playoff game, fourth quarter, 31 seconds left, Joe Flacco throws up a prayer as usual, but this time, Jacoby Jones come down with it. 70-yard touchdown, bro. That play would come to be known as the Mile High Miracle, and it helped send the game into overtime. The Ravens would go on to win in double overtime. The Ravens kept pushing. They went on to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game and made it to the Super Bowl. Jacoby had finally made it. He grew up a kid in New Orleans dreaming of being in the NFL, dreaming of playing in the Super Bowl. And now, not only was he in the NFL playing in the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl was being held in his hometown of New Orleans in the Superdome. Crazy. So Jacoby had all his family, his friends at the game, and he dedicated his game check to Hurricane Katrina victims. It was so much of a homecoming for him that his mom even cooked dinner for the whole damn team. So now you know Jacoby had to show out. It didn't take him long to get going. Second quarter in the Super Bowl, he caught a 56-yard bomb for a touchdown. So the Ravens going to halftime up big, and Jacoby and Ray Lewis end up having a weird exchange. Check it out. This is the quote. "I was gonna do the Ray Lewis dance. The crazy thing is, when I came out of the locker room, Ray said, 'Come here, boy.' And he rubbed my chest, and I was like, 'What the hell you doing, Ray? What you rubbing me for, bruh?' Ray was just like, 'I touched you.'" It's very strange, okay? But basically, Ray was saying, yo, I touched you. I'm gonna anoint you to go out here, and kind of the crazy stuff that we just kind of accept from Ray Lewis. But dog, he literally went out there. They kick it off. Ravens already up big. First play of the second half at home in New Orleans, in the Dome, in front of his friends, family. His mom is there. It's crazy. This man catch the ball all the way in the back of the end zone, brings it out, and takes it 109 yards for a touchdown and a Super Bowl record. The game literally ended right there. It was over. And after a 56-yard touchdown catch in the second quarter, and then a record-breaking 109-yard kick return for a touchdown, he should have had MVP, bro. He was clearly the MVP of that game, but they gave it to the quarterback. I'm not gonna lie, that's disappointing, and it hurts the overall story, but I think he deserved the MVP in that game. I felt the exact same way when I was watching the game, but still, he was now a Super Bowl champion, and not just a Super Bowl champion, but kind of a bit of a big deal, you know what I'm saying? He became the only person in history with a receiving yard touchdown and a kick return touchdown in the Super Bowl. That offseason, Jacoby was on Dancing with the Stars, and he got a new contract. He ended up playing 2 more seasons with the Ravens before being released, and the following year, he played with the Chargers and the Steelers before getting released. After that, he went on to play a little bit of arena ball with the Monterey Steel in 2017. Once that kind of ran its course, finally, he signed a 1-day contract with the Ravens and retired. So one day after he retired, he's back in New Orleans eating lunch with Alvin Kamara, chilling. He gets a call from his former coach asking him if he would like to become a coach. He jumped on it immediately. He ended up becoming a wide receiver and special team coach of Lane College and loving every second of it. And he out there just like you would expect, racing the damn players and claiming that he never loses. More importantly, he helped teach the kids, you know what I'm saying? Help kind of shape and mold them, giving them his story and showing them how you can constantly take L's and turn them into wins. Like, you can do this over and over and over, just like Jacoby did, and eventually end up as Super Bowl MVP, almost. He breaks it down for him, he's there for him, he talks to him, and he's only got 2 main rules: respect women and get your degree. If you do those 2 things, you'll be cool with Jacoby. So that's the story of Jacoby Jones, a man who bounced back time after time after time to always achieve something greater. So as you go about your life, try to take something from that, incorporate that. You're gonna take some L's, that's just the way this thing goes. But that ain't what defines you. It's how you shake back that's gonna ultimately be the story that's told about you. My name is FlemLo Raps. I'm out at y'all next time, fellas. One.
No quitter, 'cause I'ma go get it.